Hello, the Wells County Chamber of Commerce welcomes you and thanks you for joining us for today's webinar on the topic of Crisis Averted, 11 Steps Your Business Needs to Prepare for the Coronavirus, presented by Tom Harris with Action Coach. During the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the chat feature and we will get your questions answered at the end of the presentation. Thank you, and I turn it over to you, Tom Harris.
All right, Aaron, good morning, and good morning, everybody joining us today. So I want to say, first of all, thank you to the Wells County Chamber for allowing an opportunity to share some thoughts. Also want to congratulate everybody on the webinar today for getting through another week. We are going through some tough times. We know it. You're living it every single day. We're kind of making it up many times as we go along, but congratulations on this paradigm shift. You're getting through it day by day and week by week. What I want to do today is to give you a few things to think about, and you'll be able to jot a bunch down. I'm going to have some information toward the end. If you need further ways to contact me or Aaron, don't hesitate to do that. I think Aaron's going to give you an opportunity also if you wanted to ask some questions maybe along the way, that might be open as well. We'll get to the questions at the end, but I look forward to maybe touching base with you on some questions, and then if you have some follow-up issues, we can deal with those as well. So with that, as I mentioned, it's a paradigm shift. We're going through things that we have never thought we'd have to go through. And before I start, I'll just show you a slide. This is some of my background, and I own both the Harris Human Resources Group as well as an Action Coach franchise, and also Life Planners. And these are some of my background experiences. I will tell you that at Action Coach, we're in 70 countries, and we are doing a little bit of this slide presentation. It's modified a little bit locally here, but ultimately we are doing this all over the world, frankly, and frankly, we need to right now. We're going to start out this morning, our first slide. And by the way, what I'd like you to do is if you have a sheet of paper, you're going to jot some things down. I want you to create a sheet of paper that you can write some things down. But on the top of that paper, I want you to write a to-do or your own action item sheet, whatever you want to call it. It could be a to-do list or an action item sheet. Keep that to your side. As we talk about some different things, I want you to be able to jot some things down that you need to do for your organization. And we have with us today both business, we have non-for-profits, we have agencies, we have all kinds of groups with us today. So thank you for being here. So the first thing that I'd like to cover is the importance of communication. And this process, a lot of you may be there already. I've talked to businesses in about 10 counties, and some businesses are yet to put a communication plan in place. And we want to make sure that you are thinking about communication. And in fact, we want to break this down to four or five areas at least. One is first is your team. You need to think about how you're communicating to your own staff, your own leadership team, your management team, your employees, and you need to be able to have something in place that you're doing daily, and if not daily, about every other day, to keep them up to date on what's going on with the organization, what's going on with the COVID, the virus. What are you doing as a company and as a leadership team to work with employees as well as customers? But you need to improve communication, increase communication at this time. Don't let it slide. One thing with customers, next up is your customers. You want to make sure that from a customer standpoint, you're increasing communication. What can you do to reach out to your customers by phone, by technology? We've got all kinds of different technologies that we can use, from Skype and Zoom and Go Live Size, and various ways that you can do video conferencing. Make sure that those things get in place. If you have not done that, Figure out ways to do that. As we know, it's very possible that this is going to go on for some time. And in order for us to maintain and show leadership and develop effective relationships with our customers or maintain those, we also want to increase communication. So think about from a customer standpoint, what are you doing daily, weekly, and such to let them know that they're valuable and that you want to stay in touch with them. Give them ways to reach out to you if they need to contact you. What's some additional ways they can contact you personally or through the company or through your organization? And then from the networks and suppliers, if you're in any kind of a supply chain, making sure that you're in contact, communicating with your supply chain and making sure that if they have any hiccups, they know immediately how to get hold of you, and that you might have set schedules that you're speaking to your supply folks to make sure that everything is good on their end so that everything can be good on your end as well. I would plan for 1 hour, maybe a day or a few hours a week, just to focus on this first step, to make sure that you're communicating effectively. You need to challenge yourself every single day in a leadership role. Am I communicating effectively to these 5 areas? And think about, if I haven't been in touch with my management team, if I haven't been in touch with my customers, or if I haven't stayed in touch with my network and my community and community leaders and such, and I need to, what do I need to do today, this week, to make sure that happens? So plan an hour a day or a few hours a week just to have a plan for communication. So with that, next, we're going to move to the idea of leadership and the idea that we want to stay positive. Listen, the challenge that we're dealing with is this is negative stuff. It's taking a toll on our families. It's taking a toll on our business. It's taking a toll on our employees. And your leadership team is having to put positive spins on things that, frankly, we don't know how it's going to come out. But leadership is about positive expectations. You're in a leadership role, whatever position you're in, whether it's for your agency in your community, whether it's a non-for-profit, whether it's your own business, you are in that role as a leader, and leadership is about positive expectations. As we see from, our daily updates from either the president or the governors or the mayors, they're staying in touch with us because they're showing effective leadership. And you need to do the same to continue to get that message out. In terms of massive changes, we need to stay positive and find opportunities that we can continue to grow and develop and help our organizations actually get better. It's been said, I think Dr. Schuler, if some of you might be familiar with Dr. Schuler, late Dr. Schuler of Crystal Cathedral, tough times never last, but tough people do. And while that might seem, some of you might say, gosh, that's just some words. Think about that, because we will get through this, and tough times will never last, but tough people do. From a leadership standpoint, you want to teach your management team to think that way too. The message that your managers need to be showing your employees and the rest of the group is positive expectations. That's what you want to do. Some of the things on your screen is about don't panic, but plan, right? So panicking will not help, but planning does. Planning helps us to focus to the future. Panic is about now and the past. So focus on planning at this point. Yeah, let's see. As we and I think we just went off of one screen. We'll see if we can get back to that. And let's see, as far as the, and Aaron, I think we've jumped
You there, Tom? Technical difficulties, please hold. We'll be right back.
Let's see. Aaron, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Can you hear me okay, Aaron?
Yep.
Aaron, are you there?
I am here.
Well, that's good. I think we'll see if we can get back on track here. And there she is back again. Aaron, can you hear me now?
I can.
And hopefully the rest of the group might be able to hear me as well. We'll see. With us, I know we're having a little difficulty. Erin is located in her office, and I'm doing that social distance thing from a little bit of distance and making sure that we're separated. But by the way, those things can sometimes challenge us in terms of technology. So we are trying to figure that process out right now.
Tom, you need to reshare your desktop.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Nope.
Okay. Let's see if we can get here. Are you there?
I am.
All right, we're Aaron, how we doing?
I'm doing fine. If I've learned anything
All
through
right,
this
so
process, it's to be patient.
let's see why that keeps out at us here. All right, hopefully, Aaron, I don't know if you're seeing these or not. I've got somebody checking to see if the slides are showing up.
They are not.
I have a feeling if you're not hearing me, others may or may not.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, he cannot. On our end, he keeps freezing. So sorry about this. This is our first webinar trial. So I appreciate you all kind of being patient through this whole process. Again, if I've learned anything through our new norm, it's what patience is, and planning is very difficult when it comes to technology. Please stay tuned.
I can hear you. Aaron, hopefully you can hear me now.
Can you hear me?
Maybe not.
I feel like we're doing that old Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Aaron, are you with me?
I am here.
Well, that's great. Are you able to see slide number 3?
There we go. Step 3.
Is that showing up?
It's shown up on my end. Hey, those of you that are tuned in, can you see the screen, the slide, step 3?
And if it's a go, I will go. How's that?
Okay, I think I got a response. I believe it's good to go. Here we go. All right,
Well,
Thanks, everyone.
Aaron, yep, thank you, Aaron. And those of you that are still with us, thank you for still being with us. And we'll move right along. One of the steps that we look at in the business world is kind of what we watch in terms of the seasons and the weather goes through. We also look at that as economic cycles. So in the business world, when we see things like summer, here it went again. Are you still with me, Aaron?
I am.
Let's see. All right, let's see if that, Aaron, you're back again?
I'm here.
Yeah, something is knocking us off. I'm not sure if it's on your end or my end.
It would be your internet connection.
Yeah, we are hooked up similarly to what we had done before, so we'll see if we can get that back again. All right, so hopefully, Aaron, are you seeing 3 okay, step 3?
I am.
All right, so we're going to keep going here and we'll see how we do. But ultimately, listen, we've gone through the summer. You know, it was just 60 days ago that we had the record in terms of employment. Unemployment was the lowest. Our businesses were cooking full tilt. So you'd call that the summer. The fall and the winter, similar to farmers, we start to think about what we need to do to our ground, our harvest. We need to think about what happens in the winter months with our businesses and the farming. So from a business standpoint, we may be going into that winter, and that winter may only be 60 days, meaning what do we need to do to kind of hold back a little bit and think in terms of what do we need to do for our business to get ready for the spring and the summer. So this is an opportunity to start to plan that second quarter. So I challenge you to start thinking about what do you want to do in this second quarter to make it a record year yet, on the assumption that the summer is going to come in matter of months, and we need to plan and think that way. Next up is the standpoint of change. We do know that the world of change happens all the time. We know that if you pretend that change doesn't happen, then you've got your head in the sand. I've talked to business owners in 10 counties, and in some cases, we're denying that this is underway and we're pretending that it's not. You need to recognize that change is happening. The challenge for us is we need to innovate or evaporate, right? So the idea is that, look, we're in a change mode. We need to figure out how do we ride this wave? What do we need to do differently in the coming weeks, months, and maybe even a quarter in order to innovate our business and do things that we had not done before. So you have to make that change now. You have to think about what you're going to do different from your business or your organization. Embrace the change, live with it on the basis that, hey, this is a challenge and I'll get over it. I can get through it and enjoy that change as best you can. And that's how we serve our folks better and provide better leadership to our families So from whether it's different services that we need to be thinking about, different pricing, different staffing, even to think about, there we go again. So yeah, let's see if we can that back.
We're still here. I think the internet kicked Tom out. I am curious, through the chat feature, how many of you have been doing webinars? And what kind of challenges have you encountered through the webinars? Okay, somebody said some may need to close and reopen link to get the presentation. Mine locked up until I closed it and reopened it. Others may already know this, but in case they don't, it appears they may still be problems. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, Joy said this is her first webinar. Rochelle said they use Zoom. Has anybody had any problems with Zoom bombing? I've been seeing it on the news a lot. I wasn't sure if around here if it was an issue or not. I'm sure at some point it probably is going to be. As of right now, I've lost Tom. I'm hoping Tom comes back. Teresa says, I've only done one that I have archived, so there were no live issues. We have time, be patient. Thank you, I appreciate it. Tom's still trying to reconnect. I just got a message with that, not a problem. Anita Miller, work one. We've been doing a number of team meetings, Zoom meetings, and webinar. Usually there is a minor glitch or two, but we get through it. These are unique times. I appreciate all of your words of affirmation here, because it's again, being a professional planning organization, this is trying for us, but we're getting through it. We're trying to be patient. Like I said before, patience is something we've been learning. Somebody else says we use Teams for almost everything. Here we find it more convenient than most platforms out there. Well, that's good to know. We're all learning. Yes, yes, Joy, we certainly are. Just so you all are aware, I did send an email out about the paycheck protection. The first process is fill out the application. The banks are still trying to get the information from the Treasury Department. All of the logistics are not finalized yet. The first step is to get the applications. I did receive news today that they probably won't be accepting any applications as of today, but you can start the application process. I've been in touch with some local banks, and they encourage everybody just to kind of start getting your stuff together and getting the application process going. I'm going to try and come up with a list of those financial institutions here locally that will be a part of the SBA Paycheck Protection Program and try to get that out to you. I have been in contact with a number of health officials to do a webinar on, actually a live platform on just the health implications in our community about the importance of the social distancing and what that means should this peak, and trying to get a panel of people together for that. Also working with another speaker about just some positive information out there and how we can get through this and just remaining positive through these trying times. If there are any other topics, please let me know. I will be having, trying to get a speaker to come on about the Paycheck Protection Program and have a Q&A with businesses as well to get that accomplished. Somebody asked me, could ask anyone if they're needing anything or have any other questions with COVID. Do you need supplies? Are you doing okay? Anything that we need to get out there, anything that we need to help you with, please let us know. We're trying to be that information contact out into the community. So keep us updated on any type of information you need, and continuously watch your emails and our Facebook postings for updated information as we get it. Okay, I think Tom's trying to get back on again here.
I am trying to get back on, and let's see how we do. Let's see how we do here. Are you with me?
I'm here.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully there's a few people still with us, and we will see how we do. Fantastic. Are you on, let's see, are you on step number 4 or 5?
I'm seeing there's 4.
Still 4. Okay, very good. Well, I will do what I can to stay with you. I'm not sure what's going on here, but we will stay with you. And thanks for those that are still with us. One of the things that we want to understand in the world of change is through change, it's like riding a roller coaster a little bit. And we're experiencing that this morning a little bit. But sometimes to get ahead of change, you want to lead the change, and you'll need to look at things that are working for your business right now. And maybe you need to even think about breaking it, even consider, what do I need to do to pivot right now and try to do something different, possibly even a different service or a product. So keep those things in mind. If you want to get ahead of change, lead to the change. Don't wait for the change to affect you at this point. I want to take a look at the next slide, which is really about cutting back. Now, we may be in a situation that we actually have to consider cutting back a little bit, and recognize that when that happens, it is not necessarily something that we want to do. We're being told today to hang on to those employees, so that's a good thing. But if you are in a business that you absolutely have to let go, it's better sometimes to make those decisions straight up rather than to just spread them out over time, because it's really tough, as you know, on morale. One thing to think about is that even though you're cutting back, you do not want to cut back on marketing and sales. Marketing and selling is your future. You have to keep that process going. So if your salespeople are having difficulties in this process, set up strategies and planning to make sure that you can get around those roadblocks. Think about it from a standpoint, if we're going down the road and we see roadblocks for road construction, we don't turn the car around and go back home. We figure out a different route to go, a different path and such. In your world, in your business, in your agency, in your organization, right now, you need to be thinking about, how do I market and how do I sell differently than I've done in the past? If your salespeople are not using some kind of resource like maybe the meeting process or GoToMeetings or any of these, Zoom, a number of different ways, get them trained on it, have them learn it so that they can reach out to their own customers. And I just want to check, Aaron, you're still with me? And hopefully you're still receiving this on your end. So
we're good.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Hopefully we'll see. We're going to move on to slide number 6. All right. Are you still with me, Aaron?
I am here.
All right. Very good. Just checking. I want to make sure that someone out there is with us, and that's a beautiful thing. All right. We're going to move on to the extending credit, and the concept here is. You okay? Hopefully you can hear me now. One of the things that we want to make sure is that you're extending credit or try to expand your use of your credit lines. And Aaron, let's see if you're still with me. I'm not hearing anything at this point.
I'm here. I'm on mute, so I don't distract you.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm going to keep going, and yeah, we'll do. So the idea on this slide is really what's happening today. Aaron mentioned it a little bit ago, is that the banks are being told, hey, go out and make sure there's enough credit and enough monies and funds and lending services to the businesses that need it. So here's what I want you to do, is to write down either an hour a day or a few hours a week. You need to be focused on your credit for your business. So get it now while they're lending. They're being told, and the Secretary of Treasury is indicating that the banks will be positioned and poised to make sure that small business gets their money. But right now, if you can get extended credit lines, try to expand those credit lines for your business, even if you don't need it. It's the thing to do right now. Even credit cards. What can you do with credit cards to expand those a little bit? And think about your own personal finances as well. What do you need to do to expand credit, get more credit, even if you don't need it today? Look to refinancing. There may be possibilities for refinancing as well. And look to those lowest rates. We're watching today this thing evolve. It will be a little bit interesting to see how they roll this out today, and we'll be watching and listening. I understand that the banks are trying to learn it. Even 2 or 3 days ago, they were putting some of these final pieces together for some of the financing that was going to be available. So keep an eye on that. Create a file, create a notebook, create something that you can gather information about all the different funding available. And so those of you, and I know you're out there, that really don't do a lot with the financing of your business because you leave that to somebody else. own it, get on it, understand it, train yourself, teach yourself all the different aspects you can about your financing right now. Again, if the winter becomes more than a couple months, you're going to want to know how to get through the winter in 3 to 6 months from now. So think about that, 1 to 3 hours at least per week. And we'll make sure that we get through it, and you'll be poised as a company to be able to get through it as well. We're going to move on to step number 7. And step number 7, we want to understand that if we have to make those cuts, do it appropriately. And again, as I mentioned, don't necessarily cut back on your marketing and sales people, because you may need them to grow your business or sustain your business. If there's a vacation process possible, and people can take vacations, they can't travel, but maybe they use their vacation times now. If layoffs are required, then maybe you'll need to go ahead and let some of those go. But remember, I think the act today, that Paycheck Act today, is wanting you to stay, bring them back and keep them on your payroll and such. So watch for that. Let's see. Also remember, one of the things that we're hearing right now is that the Walmart and the Amazons of the world are actually hiring, and they're trying to hire hundreds of thousands of people. One of the reasons they're doing that is that they're anticipating in the months to come, when people start catching this virus all over the place, they may have either 10 to 20, 30% of their staffs are going to be affected, where they're going to need to be off work. Or if somebody walks into your workplace in the next 3 months, next month and 2 weeks with it, and actually contaminates 4 or 5 other people, what will you do? Will you have enough employees to be able to sustain your business? So be careful on reducing your staff too quickly, because you may need them. In fact, in some cases, you may even, if you're in a position to be able to staff up, you might even consider staffing up. You might even consider a plan for the next 30, 60, 90 days on what would we do if we lost 10% of our workforce due to the virus. How are we going to maintain our agency? How are we going to maintain services to our customers and such? Cross-training is crucial at this time. If people don't know how to do each other's jobs, think about how you cross-train some of your most significant positions. You want to get that into your planning format, so that you think if there's 3 or 4 or 5 positions that are crucial, how do you back those up? And maybe that's your position as the owner, sole proprietor. What happens if you get sick and you're down for 2 or 3 weeks or a month or something? Who carries on the business? So think about that as well. I'm going to move on to number 8, and I'm going to assume that everybody is still with me, and I'm glad you are. So we'll make sure that this one is also valuable for you. So the idea that we're working from home, most of you are probably calling in and connecting with us from home, and that is probably going to stay with us today at 2:30, I believe. The governor of the state of Indiana is going to make a determination on what happens next, and there's some thought that he's going to extend this thing through the end of the month. I've not heard that yet, but should he extend this through the end of the month, how will you continue to work from home? How can you have your staffs work from home? If you've not had a staff meeting, and I've talked to some businesses just this week that have yet to have a staff meeting since this process kicked in, figure out a way with technology. What do you need to do to have all of your staff on possibly Zoom or Go Live Size or GoToMeeting or something, but you want to have a staff meeting. You need to stay in touch and keep that communication happening with your team. How do people report their productivity? Set up a process that they're having to turn in a report at the end of the week that they've made so many calls. That also, from a standpoint that they're producing and things are happening, you need to change your reporting. Maybe your staff meetings used to be that you'd go around the table and talk about how people did and what they're doing on certain projects. How can they turn that into you, even if you're not able to meet with them in person? Get those things into place. Again, you may not feel like you need it today, but it may be in a couple of months that we're still going through this. So you need to think about that business contingency plan as well. Let's see. Some of the other pieces on this one is, and I mentioned this before, I want to do it again, is your sales team needs to figure out new technologies to be able to sell better. And if you're a sole proprietor, you need to figure out, how do I communicate with my customer or potential customers virtually, because that customer may not want to be shaking your hand or having you come into their business. So you need to be thinking about, how do I get around that, and make sure that all the aspects of your business can be maintained, even though you're not in the office together. 2 or 3 business owners, maybe 2 business owners working in the same office. If one business owner gets it and the second one is in the office together, what happens when both business owners are out sick? So you need to be thinking about working from a different location. So banking in the mail and your communication process, maybe weeks and months before we get back to some set of normal there. So, okay, we're going to move on to number 9. And number 9 is talking a little about those online deliveries. So once again, the concept on this one is, what do you need to do to reach out to your clients, your customers, and bring them new services? The idea that you may need to add delivery. Restaurants are already figuring that out, but maybe you need to do that for your own business in terms of what you produce, what you provide in terms of services. You may need to add a delivery process. Maybe you need to get to an online process that they're producing forms, or you're producing forms, signature lines, different things that they may need to sign that you can send to them electronically. Most of you have probably thought through that already, but this is a time that you want to enhance your websites, your Facebook pages, to make sure that there's other ways that they can communicate, other ways you can deliver your services and your products and such. So, and then how do you increase those communications with the customers? You need to think. I heard a example the other day that the wedding photographer is going through tough times, right? So all the weddings are being postponed and such, and they're counting on that revenue to keep their business alive. So they pivoted, and now in some cases they're taking pictures of families on the doorsteps of their houses during this, right? So they're doing family portraits and such. And so while they're not doing the photography for a wedding, they're now making money taking pictures of families so they can remember these moments in their life and in the history going forward. But when you're doing everything from hairdressing and accountants and cleaning companies and such, what do you need to do to change the delivery of your service or to do things online? So be thinking of those things as well. Step number 10, and step number 10. Now we want to make sure that you are continually coming up with new ideas to market better and sell better. I mentioned a little bit ago, the sales staff needs to learn new skills. If you haven't done that, if they haven't done that, write that down. They need to learn how to do all these online opportunities. We may think that we're going to be over this in a week to 2 weeks. This may be 3 months. So your marketing people need to figure out how to enhance their marketing, and whether it's Facebook or email blast or different ways to stay in touch with the chamber. And by the way, if you're not a chamber member, join chamber. And what Aaron's doing today and what Wells County does is keep you in touch with different things that are going on in business in the community. So join the chamber is another way. Do not slow down in this area. Enhance it, increase it, get strategic in terms of what you want to do. 5 ways. These are different things that the Action Coach teaches, but we want to understand how many leads you have, right? So even track the number of leads that you were getting. Hopefully you had been doing that, but now that we're in this change, how many leads are you getting per day, per week, per month? And you want to track that to know that you're making progress. You're getting more leads in, and how many of those are converted over to customers and such. Try to get cash up front. You want to get, as you sell, Try to get that cash. Cash is king. You want to make sure that the cash comes in sooner than later. As things may tighten up, you want the cash in your pocket at this point. Let's see. And then the idea of creating new offers. Maybe there's a situation that you're doing building construction and such, and building things for or working on people's houses and such, and maybe they're nervous about having you in the house or doing things around the house. Maybe there's new offers, new rates, new possibilities that you can do during this time and in the coming weeks and months. So try to get ahead of that and try to get some plans set for that as well. Negotiate rates. Remember, you've got the opportunity both from a selling standpoint, but both from a buying standpoint too, that you can actually negotiate some of your rates a little bit as well. So, and I'm going to jump to slide number 11. Existing customers are your best customers. You really need to make sure that you're reaching out to your clients, your customer base right now, and figuring out ways to say thank you for your business, and make sure that that relationship is building and getting better or solid. Keep growing those relationships. Create some deals for them. What can you do? Maybe it's a plan for the next 3 to 6 months, or an annual membership, or a annual relationship, or a 3-month relationship. But try to develop some deals for your best customers. Remember that the 80-20 rule, that 20% of your customers are bringing in 80% of your revenue. So focus on them and make sure that you're increasing access to communicate more with those customers. All right, let's go to number 12. And by the way, this is an indication of the process that we're in. I mentioned that we'd have 11 steps for you, but the idea is that we're going to move to 12, because we want to give a little bit more to the clients, a little bit more to the customers, a little bit more at this often. They will, or at this time, they will not forget that. So you want to make sure that you're doing a little bit more, over deliver on customer service. What can you do a little bit more than you've done in the past? Use some common sense, right? And one of the challenges is that sometimes we'll put our head in the sand and say, gosh, this is not that big a deal. Why can't my employees come to work? Why can't they put some of this in perspective and just keep focused, keep working? Use some common sense. We're all going through this differently, and some people are having a lot of difficulty with it. So, you know, take that chill pill a little bit and relax a little bit. Provide some positive output, and don't buy too much toilet paper. The concept there is just don't overdo it. Don't freak out. Stay calm, and we will get through this process. And ultimately, you want to show that optimism from a leadership standpoint, and set some goals to make some planning for the second quarter ultimately. So I've shot through those kind of quickly, and I did that on the basis that I thought I'd get cut off again, and I'll trust that I'm still there. Aaron, are you still with me?
I am still here.
All right, very good. I know we've probably had a few folks shoot us some questions, but I can probably open that up before, as those questions maybe are coming to us. A couple of thoughts is, have that 90-day plan. If you've not identified what you're going to do and how you're going to pivot a little bit for your business for the next 90 days, take that time today to write that up. You want to think about what you need to do for your business, what you need to do for service and communications, all those kind of things. And the better that you can plan and not panic, the more effective your business is going to be in 90 days. And then finally, list those 5 ideas that you need to take action. So that to-do list or that action plan, let's make sure you've got 5 things written down that you're going to need to focus on. The idea that we can focus on the future helps us get through the tough times today. And keep that in mind, that tough times don't last, tough people do. And one final comment before we deal with some questions is 3 or 4 areas that you want to think about is, 1, how do you maintain business operations in the next 90 days? How do you have employees return to work and deal with the employees bringing the virus to work? That day's going to come when where businesses are back at it. The employees are going to walk in and somebody's going to bring it to the workplace. It's going to happen. This thing is extremely contagious. How will you deal with it from a leadership standpoint? How will you deal with it from a business standpoint to have 1 or 2 or 10 employees contaminated and all of a sudden they're out of work and you need to keep your operations going? You need to be thinking about how am I going to deal with that. Third is your business finances. I mentioned take an hour, take a few hours a week in a day or per day or per week for you to get better at finances and understanding and take ownership of that. Create your file, a book or something that you can focus on that. And then how to have a business contingency plan for 10% of your staff to be out in the next 6-9 months. What if you were to lose 10% of your staff due to the illness at any given time? How are you going to keep business afloat? So with that, Aaron, I'll open it up for any questions that you might have.
Tom, a lot of it, we're all trying to be so reactive right now and dealing with the now. And businesses probably in the next couple of weeks need to really start thinking about the aftermath, how to recover from this and come up with a plan of moving forward, because things are going to be different and it is going to be tough for businesses as we move forward because of all the changes that we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody has studied the idea of paradigm shifts, this is a paradigm shift. It basically, when a paradigm shift happens, things usually come in from the outside. They don't come in from the inside of your organization. They come at you from the outside. And then all the rules change. And it doesn't matter how good you are, how great you are, all of a sudden everything kind of goes back to zero. And you have to almost rebuild, restart, redo the effectiveness of your service or your products. And you kind of have to think that way from a standpoint of what do I need to do to build my business or maintain or retain my customers. And so think about it that way. And if you can think into the future, look, if we can make plans and take action, it helps us with anxiety because we feel like we're taking ownership and we can make the future any way we want to if we take action. If you wait for things to happen to you, it'll just build anxiety. It'll throw your employees and your management team off as well.
Right. Planning is so very important in this moment of time right now. Very good. I haven't seen any other questions come through, Tom. We appreciate your time today. Thank you for everybody's patience online as well. Again, if there are other topics, please let me know. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm at 824-0510 extension 2. I'm the only one in the office. Doors are locked. Or you can email me at eprible, EPRIBLE, @wellscoc.com. Tom, any last minute words of wisdom?
No, I think I've left the slide is up right now. It's got my email address and phone number and website. So if anybody needs contact information, hopefully you're seeing it, and would love to help. If I can help in some way from a coaching standpoint or any of the information that you've seen today, I'd love to help you. Our goal at Action Coach is to help businesses get through this, and we will be tough. Tough times won't last. Tough people do. You've gotten into your leadership role because of your skills and abilities. This is your time to make things happen. So good luck, stay safe, and stay strong.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.